All right, guys, welcome to this episode of Live Life in Maine. In this episode, we're going to talk about the top five communities you should think about moving to here in Maine. It doesn't matter if you're upsizing or downsizing, you already live here in Maine. If you are moving from away, like from out of state, or if you are a first-time home buyer. These are the top five communities that I would encourage you guys to be looking at if you're thinking about making a change in your residential single-family home living environment. These five communities are based upon 10 criteria that I came up with. Number one, there's proximity to Portland, Portsmouth, and Boston. Number two, they're growing communities. They're not depressed. They're actually growing. More people are moving to them. Number three, the housing is affordable, specifically compared to Portland. Number four, good schools and family-friendly activities. Number five, recreational activities such as hiking, biking, kayaking, fishing, ice fishing, snowshoeing, just things to do in these communities. Number six, revitalize downtowns. And there's one of these communities, and specifically one of these communities has really come a long way in this revitalization of its downtown and the economic development that it has spurred on all five communities, but in this one community that I'm going to talk about. Number six, a blend of kind of an urban living lifestyle or a suburban living lifestyle, or a rural living lifestyle, depends. One of the three. You can live right down in kind of the downtowns. You can live right on the outskirts, or you can live a little further out where you get the best of all three worlds. Number eight, access to transportation infrastructure such as public transportation, the Amtrak that can take you all the way down to Boston, and if you stay on there all the way down the East Coast if you want, or the public transportation, the high-speed internet that's available, and other amenities like solar power and stuff like that. Number nine, employment opportunities. Lots of employment opportunities in these communities and in the surrounding communities around these communities. And obviously, their proximity to Portland obviously doesn't hurt because that is the largest job market in Maine. And then number 10, climate. I threw that in there because while we're not talking about counting any of these communities in northern Maine where the climate can get very brutal in the dead of winter when you get 10 feet of snow and temperatures dipping below 0 degrees every day. These five communities, you're going to have the four seasons. You're going to have some snow, but you're also going to have the 85 to 90 degree temperatures in the summertime. You're also going to have the fall foliage and the crisp air that you're going to experience, like what we're experiencing right now. And then in the wintertime, you are going to get snow, but it's not going to be crazy. And there's a lot of things to do in all of those four seasons. So for that reason, I'm going to talk to you about the best five communities you should move to in Maine. So buckle up because we're going to get after it right now. All right, guys, welcome back to the channel here at Live Life in Maine. My name is Scott Tebow. I'm a broker with eXp Realty. I say this all the time. More importantly than that, I'm a husband. I'm a father of five. I'm a grandfather, soon to be of three. We're expecting our first granddaughter anytime now this month. I'm a veteran of the United States military, serving my country from 86 to 94, and I'm a son of Maine. I've lived here almost my whole life. I was born and raised here. I guess it's what you call a Maina, M-A-I-N-E-A-H. We have a lot of A-H's in our vocabulary. Or a maniac, depends on what part of the state you're from. So those two nouns really mean that there's somebody who's born and raised in Maine, true-blooded American Mainer, I guess is the best way I can put it. Lived here, born and raised here, left at 18, went into the military, served my country, was gone for about 10 years. Most of that was in the military, but I came back. I've been back ever since. Came back in my mid-20s. I've been back ever since. I'm 56, and I just love living in Maine. So the purpose of this episode and this channel is to help educate all of you who either live in Maine and don't know enough about Maine, who are looking to move to Maine, or just want to know more about me and how I operate in terms of the real estate industry and how I'm here to be a conduit to help educate, to help guide, and to assist you any way I can to make your real estate experience, whether you're buying or selling, investing, building, or developing, the best experience you can have. I've been doing this for quite a while. I started out in this industry flipping properties. I own a commercial property as well as my own property. I own a few businesses, and obviously I'm a real estate broker here with EXP Realty. So in the game of real estate, I've kind of been in the industry for, I think I put my first house in '98. So however long that was, 26 years ago. I've been a broker since 2013 when I made the choice, instead of paying realtors to sell my properties, I would do it myself, and it just spounded into much more than that. But anyways, guys, like I said, this episode is about educating you on the top 5 communities that you should consider living in or moving to or relocating to here in Maine, and why those communities stand out amongst all the rest of the communities that I know of in Maine. Now, shoot me a comment, send me a text, send me an email if you disagree, but I think you're going to be hard-pressed to find anything that's going to meet all the criteria that I gave in my opening monologue and offer kind of the economic development and opportunities that these 5 communities have. I'm not saying there aren't other great communities in Maine. I just picked top 5. I can make this a 3-hour podcast and have or a video and talk about a lot of the community, top 10, top 15, top 20, but I'm just going to narrow it down to 5. So if you find this information helpful in your pursuits of looking to relocate, downsize, upsize, or buy a home or sell a home, then I would encourage you to subscribe to this channel. Tap that bell to be notified when I drop new content, which I'm trying to do on a weekly basis now. All right, guys, let's get into it. The top 5 communities that you should consider moving to for a number of reasons. Number 1, and these are in order. Actually, they kind of go right up the coast. But number 1 is Biddeford, Maine. That's right, Biddeford, Biddeford. Biddeford, Maine is a community unlike no other. It used to be an old mill town. Now that mill town, those mills have been developed. I was part of one of the development of those mills, 1 million square foot, and it really created a boondoggle of investment and other investors coming to Biddeford, and it's probably the number 1 revitalized community in Maine. Biddeford is actually the oldest city in terms of when it was founded, something like in the 1700s. I don't know the exact date, 1760 maybe. I don't know the exact date. I guess I should have looked it up. But it is one of the youngest, if not the youngest city in Maine. You have a lot of hip people moving there. There's a lot of restaurants coming in, a lot of businesses coming in. The Main Street is phenomenal. There's an organization in Biddeford in the downtown called the Heart of Biddeford. The Heart of Biddeford is a Main Street organization, the National Main Street Organization. I believe there's like 38 Main Street organizations across the country. The Heart of Biddeford is one of those. And the reason why I'm really promoting the Heart of Biddeford more than anything is because 2 years ago, maybe it was last year, I think it was in 2023, maybe it was 2022, I can't really remember. The Heart of Biddeford won the Great American Main Street Award. So that award is given out to the best Main Street every year. And, in order to win that award, you're competing against 30,000 some odd other Main Streets. And Biddeford won that award as being the best Main Street that year across the country. So that has to, so Biddeford's doing something right. Now, obviously, the Heart of Biddeford is as well, but they're doing something right with all what's going on in that community. Some of the reasons why you want to move to Biddeford. Number 1, Biddeford is unique, and another town is just like this, is unique because you have the beach, which is on the East Coast, the Atlantic Beach. You have some pretty high-end properties out there in the Biddeford Pool area, the Fortunes Rocks, and that area. But you have the beach, which is one of its boundaries, to the east, right? To the west, you have these rolling hills and farmland and kind of the rural development areas where you can live, where you have acres or 2 acres or 3 acres to live on. And then you have the downtown, which has been revitalized. It's growing and everything in between. So that kind of makes Biddeford unique. It's separated between to the north by a river called the Saco River, which is one of the best fishing rivers, in my opinion, in the state of Maine. And then to the south, you got Kennebunk Port, which is a very happening spot, especially in the summertime with all the foodie stuff and tourism that's down there. And obviously its proximity to Portland, about 20 minutes, 15 minutes to Portland, about 45 minutes to Portsmouth, and about an hour and 45 minutes to 2 hours to Boston, unless you take the Downeaster. So we talked about infrastructure There's an Amtrak station right over in its twin city, sister city, Saco, right over the river, where you can get on the Amtrak and take it right down to North Station in Boston for about a 2 hour ride. So a lot of people actually live up here and commute to Boston using that Amtrak in the mornings for job purposes. But Biddeford is up and coming. It has grown pretty fast. It's been revitalized. Some things about Biddeford. Biddeford has become a sought-after destination for newcomers and first-time home buyers due to the dynamic blend of historical charm and modern revitalization. Once a prominent town, Biddeford has transformed the vibrant community with a growing art scene, trendy restaurants, and unique local businesses, many housed in a beautiful repurposed mill buildings along the Saco River. Located just 20 minutes from Portland and minutes from the coastline, Biddeford offers a variety of housing options, from historic homes to established neighborhoods to contemporary lofts and new developments. Residents enjoy access to excellent schools, scenic parks, and the convenience of the Amtrak station for easy commuting. With its revitalized downtown, proximity to beaches, and a strong sense of community, Biddeford is a perfect place for those seeking a blend of small town charm and modern amenities in southern Maine. So my number one community that you should be thinking about moving to in Maine is Biddeford. And I did some little bit of research on what's going on in the real estate market in Biddeford as of yesterday. As of yesterday, there are 29 homes for sale in Biddeford, and they range from $310,000 to $3.995 million. So the $310,000 is kind of starter home prices in Biddeford, maybe a little bit expensive. I was surprised to see a house around 310. Generally, you're in the fours, the 420s, and then the 3.9 million is probably out on one of the Biddeford pool properties out on the coast. So Biddeford, very desirable place to live too. It's growing, it's young, it's hip, it's vibrant. There's a lot of activity going on. Like I said, you have the heart of Biddeford, you have the downtown, you have all these mills that have been redeveloped into restaurants and small businesses, and people having apartments there. So it's a growing community. It's no longer a mill town. It is one of the fastest growing cities in Biddeford, in Maine, and it is the youngest, or one of the youngest cities in Maine. So Biddeford, number one. Moving on, and it's no surprise, right across the river from Biddeford over the Saco River is Saco. Number two community I would encourage you to look at. Saco is much like Biddeford. The real big difference between Saco and Biddeford is Biddeford has more of an industrial base, more commercial business, especially as you get out away from the downtown and into what we call the 5 Points and into the industrial park areas. We have a Biddeford Crossing, which is where some of the big stores are and the big shopping centers and stuff like that. Where Saco is more of a bedroom community. It's a smaller. It doesn't have the commercial businesses like Biddeford has. But what Saco does have is a lot of the same things that Biddeford has. It has a vibrant downtown that's growing, a lot of festivities and things to do in Saco on the main street, Saco Main Street. You have, again, the ocean, just like you do in Biddeford. And then to the west, you have rolling hills. Another reason people move to Saco is because of Thornton Academy. Thornton Academy is the high school in Saco, but it's actually a private public school. So if you live in Saco, you go to Thornton Academy for free because the Saco taxpayer pays to send those kids there. But it is a public school in that aspect. It's a private school because it has a lot of exchange students, foreign exchange students. I think it's like 12 to 14% of its enrollment is from other parts of the world. It's the largest high school. It's a perennial Class A, the top class in Maine, state champions in multiple sports, football being the most prevalent. Because it's part of a public school, I believe the educators are more paid at a higher scale. The academic load at Thornton Academy is higher. You have more graduates from Thornton Academy, going to colleges. It has a pretty robust program in terms of the industrial arts, and it's partnered with a couple of pretty big manufacturers in and around Maine. It's a campus-type environment where you go from one building to another outside. It's kind of like a college campus. Like I said, it's one of the large. It is the largest school in Maine, and you have a lot of diversity there with, again, the foreign exchange students, and just how Thornton Academy does its business. I'm a product of Thornton Academy, though it has changed quite a bit since I went there. The person that runs it now, Rennie Minard, who's the headmaster, is kind of like a principal, was a sophomore when I was a senior, if that gives you an idea of my age, unfortunately, which I already told you was 56. So pretty up and coming, not up and coming, but established school. It's one of 9 or 11 academies in the state. And a lot of people move to Saco because they want their kids going to Thornton Academy. You don't have to live in Saco to go to Thornton Academy. You can actually live in Dayton or Arundel, because those two towns don't have a high school. So kids that live in Dayton or Arundel can also go to Thornton Academy if they choose. But if you want to go to Thornton Academy, you don't live in one of those three communities, Arundel, Dayton, or Saco, your parents can pay for you to go to Thornton Academy. So I know I'm talking a lot about Thornton Academy. I got a little blurb here on Saco. Saco, Maine is an appealing destination for people moving to the area and purchasing their first home due to picturesque coastal setting, rich history, and strong sense of community. Located just 20 minutes south of Portland and minutes away from the sandy shores of Olocha Beach. Now, Olocha Beach, I don't have as one of the top 5 communities, but it is definitely sandy shores. It is the Canadian capital of the summertime. You have more Canadians go to Olocha Beach than I think anywhere in the world, is what I heard one time. It's a pretty big tourist attraction. You get the beaches, you get the pier, you get all the festivities and stuff. I did a video on Olocha Beach, probably a year ago, so you can look back in my videos and see that. But its proximity to Olocha Beach, Saco offers a perfect mix of small town charm and accessibility to larger city amenities. Families and first-time buyers are drawn to the top-rated schools. Like I was saying, Thornton Academy. It has safe neighborhoods, ranging in housing options from historic homes in the downtown district to modern developments in the suburban settings, with a bustling downtown, beautiful parks, and access to the Saco River. Like I said, the Saco River separates Saco and Biddeford. It's one of the best fishing rivers in Maine, I believe, and its Atlantic coastline. Saco provides a high quality of life for those seeking a welcome coastal vibe of living. I'm gonna disclose this. I'm biased when it comes to Biddeford and Saco because I grew up in Saco and I now live in Biddeford. So I'm very entrenched in those communities. I know a lot that's going on in those communities. I've seen those two communities grow leaps and bounds from when I grew up in Saco and now live in Biddeford. And I see the people coming and all the good things that are being said about Saco and Biddeford in general. So number 2, Saco, town that you might want to consider moving to if you're thinking about moving here, relocating here, or upsizing, downsizing. Saco statistics right now, as of yesterday, like I said, 36 properties for sale, ranging again from $310,000 to $5.6 million. Again, I believe that $5.6 million is on the coast, just like in Biddeford. A lot of activity in Saco. You see a lot of people moving to Saco. You see a lot of families that are moving to Saco that have kids in middle school or about to enter high school. And I believe Thornton Academy is one of those big draws of why people are moving to Saco. When you really look at these two communities, a Biddeford and Saco, it's right. They're right off the turnpike, Interstate 95. They have 2 exits, soon to be 3. You have the beach, 3 miles away from the downtown, and then you have these rolling green grass hills or forestry in the west. The communities are awesome. I mean, I live in Biddeford. I am literally, if I hopped in my truck right now, it'd probably take me 7 minutes to get to the beach, 3 minutes to get to the downtown, 3 minutes to get to the Amtrak station. I have fiber optics at my house, which is where I'm recording this video right now in my studio. So there's a lot of pros to living in Biddeford and Saco, a lot more pros than there is cons. And again, the proximity to Portland, Portsmouth, Boston, and all the surrounding southern Maine communities makes these two communities number 1 and number 2 in my book in terms of looking to move to in Maine. Number 3, a little further up, a little bit more pricey, is Westbrook. So Westbrook is another mill town that has been revitalized. Westbrook sits to the west of Portland. It borders Portland. So if you're going to get out of the hustle and bustle of living in Portland and paying the high prices for homes and dealing with the traffic and dealing with the tourism and dealing with all the hustle and bustle that Portland has to offer. I'm not trying to make out Portland to be bad. I wouldn't live there. There's a video that I did on why Portland is a great place to visit but not live. But Westbrook is one of those communities that you might want to consider moving to. It's on the outskirts. It's west of Portland, like I said. It's got a revitalized downtown. It has a lot of economic development. They created a kind of area called Rock Row where they have outdoor concerts now. The downtown has been revitalized. And what used to be a mill town that smelled like cabbage. I used to play softball. I remember playing in a softball league years ago, and we had games right off the river there in Westbrook. You could smell the paper mill running, and it smelled like cabbage. All that's been cleaned up. The river's been cleaned up. There's a lot of development there. It's an economic boom, obviously, because of its proximity to Portland. A little blurb I wrote about Westbrook. Westbrook is a great choice for newcomers and first-time homebuyers looking for a vibrant, up-and-coming community close to Portland. Just 10-minute drive from downtown Portland, Westbrook combines small-town charm with the convenience of living near one of Maine's most dynamic cities. The town has been significant growth in revitalization in the recent years, adding new restaurants, breweries, and cultural venues while preserving its historic mill town character. Westbrook offers a variety of housing options, from affordable starter homes to stylish new developments, making it reasonable and accessible for all range of buyers. With its excellent schools, parks, and scenic Presumpscot River providing outdoor recreational activities, Westbrook is an appealing place for those who want to enjoy a balance of life, work, leisure, and play. Again, I love Westbrook. It's a great place to be. I have a bunch of buddies that live in Westbrook. Its proximity to Portland is one of the biggest draws to why people are moving to Westbrook. It's more affordable than living in Portland, more affordable than living in Falmouth, more affordable than probably living in Scarborough, more affordable than living in South Portland. Those are kind of the communities that border the town of Portland. So Westbrook is number 3 on my list of one of the top 5 communities you should think about moving to, downsizing to, relocating to, whatever you want to call it, in here in Maine. All right. Number 4 is it's away from the coast, a little bit inland. It is Windham. So Windham is by Sebago Lake, which is really what put Windham on the map. And there's a lot of development happening in Windham. I see more and more people moving to Windham. It's already got a pretty big. It doesn't really have a main street. Windham is more what's the word I'm looking for? It's more developed, so you don't have like the sidewalks and the main streets like you do in Westbrook, Biddeford, and Saco, and even the next town I'm going to talk about. It's more established that way. You have more bigger box stores. You have the Walmarts out there. You have the big grocery stores, but you have a lot of lakes in the area. Sebago Lake being the biggest, and everything that spawns from Sebago Lake. You have a lot of housing development that's happening in Windham as people are moving away from the coast to try to save a little bit of money and living, even if you're living 10 to 15 miles from the coast, you're going to find that prices are a little bit less than they are on the coast, and a lot less in some cases if you're looking to live right on the coast. Windham has a great school system. There's tons of things to do, big things in Windham to do. You got the lake, like I said, in the summertime. Big attraction, and then in the wintertime you got ice fishing, you got skiing right up the road. You have up in Bridgeton, which is like 20 miles up the road from Windham, you got a Pleasant Mountain. It used to be Shawnee Peak. I think it's called Pleasant Mountain now. It's not a giant hill, but it's a good place to go skiing. And obviously you get the lake when it freezes over. You got ice fishing, snowmobiling, and all the tricks. It's got great hiking trails. One of my closest friends lives in Windham, and he tells me sometimes he comes out his front door, or looks out his office window, and he's looking at Mount Washington when it has a snow cap. Now, Mount Washington is like, I don't know, probably 60 miles or 70 miles away, maybe a little closer, but he can see Mount Washington in the snow cap, and it's just picturesque. It's beautiful. Windham is a beautiful, beautiful place to live. The blurb I wrote about Windham. Windham, Maine is an attractive option for those moving to the state or purchasing their first home due to the convenience, location, community focus, amenities, and beautiful natural surroundings. Just 20 minutes from Portland, Wyndham offers ease of access to the city's employment opportunities and vibrant culture scene while maintaining a more relaxed suburban atmosphere. Known for its family-friendly neighborhoods, excellent schools, and proximity to Sebago Lake, Wyndham provides residents with a wealth of outdoor activities from boating and fishing in the summertime to snowshoeing and ice fishing in the winter, kind of like I just said with the lake and all that. With a range of housing options and from new modern builds to cozy single-family homes, Wyndham is a great place for those seeking a peaceful lifestyle with the convenience of urban amenities close by. So let me back up real quick. I didn't do this with Westbrook, but I will real quick. I looked at the Westbrook market in terms of the real estate market. Westbrook only has 7 homes for sale as of yesterday that are active on the market, and they range from $258,000 to $3 million. All right. Wyndham, which is the one I just did, has 30 homes on the market, much like Biddeford and Saukle. And those homes range from $258K to $3 million. So like I said, the further you get away from the coast, or as Wyndham is away from the coast, the prices come down. $258, I think, is a little bit on the low side. I think the average price of a home, starter home, is right around that 400, maybe high threes in Wyndham. But you're seeing a lot of homes going in those kind of low threes right now, specifically first-time home buyer homes, whether they're ranches, colonials, split levels, or something else. You're seeing more and more people looking at Wyndham. And then obviously you have more people moving to Wyndham because there's a lot of development in cul-de-sac communities going in, if you will, where you have these small subdivisions. Wyndham's a pretty big area in terms of geographic space, and there's been more development out there. So Wyndham is another awesome place to live in. Number 4 on my list of the top 5 towns or cities you might want to consider moving to in Maine. And then finally, we have Brunswick. So Brunswick is up past Portland, going up the coast. If you're going up the coast, you're going to pass Portland. You're going to keep on going past Freeport and stuff. You're going to start going left. And when you start going left, sorry if I got away from the mic, you're going to reach Brunswick. Now, Brunswick was really popular put on the map because it had one of the largest naval air stations. It was kind of a military town. It had one of the largest naval air stations in the state, if not on the East Coast. That naval air station kind of went away. That air station has been redeveloped into business park and all the amenities that come with it. A lot of that housing had been converted into single-family homes. It's got a beautiful, beautiful downtown, very vibrant, very rich. It's got Bowdoin College, which is a pretty prestigious college. It sits right off from the downtown in Brunswick, and it's growing pretty fast. It's a little bit more pricier than the other communities, other than maybe Westbrook, because it's right literally, kind of like Biddeford and Saukle, but it's right on the coast, and it has a lot of development going on. The average price for the starter home prices, or let me give you this way, there are 30 homes in Brunswick for sale right now, and they range from $292,000 to $2 million. I honestly think the median price for a home in Brunswick's probably around that $450 range, but you can find some cheaper. So you just got to look and be patient and understand what you're looking for. Very desirable place to live. And finally, the blurb I wrote about Brunswick. Brunswick is an ideal destination for newcomers and first-time homebuyers because it offers a perfect balance of small-town charm and vibrant community amenities. Located just 30 minutes from Portland and home to Bowdoin College, Brunswick boasts a lively downtown with local shops, restaurants, and cultural attractions. Families and individuals are drawn to this excellent school system, safe neighborhoods, and abundant outdoor recreational opportunities, including access to nearby coastline and numerous hiking and biking trails. With a welcome community atmosphere, a blend of historic and modern housing options, and easy access to larger urban areas, Brunswick is an excellent choice for those seeking the quality of lifestyle in a picturesque New England setting. And I will say that about Brunswick. It's really kind of New England. You know, they all are, but Brunswick really kind of has that New England kind of coastal fishermen, a little bit bigger than that community these days, but you can really tell. And there's sometimes you can smell the ocean, if you will. So if you're leaving Brunswick, you're heading down They got Brunswick kind of sits up on some of these finger peninsulas, so you can drive down those, and the views are just breathtaking down to oh God, what's the name of that community down there? It'll come to me. But if you look on a map, I'll show you on the map all these areas and where they're at. So, guys, those are the top 5 communities I think you should be thinking about if you're gonna live to Maine, if you're already living here, or if you're a first-time home buyer. Sure, you can find cheaper homes in other communities, especially if you go further north and west. Like even if you go up to Augusta in the mid coast, you're going to find homes that are a little bit cheaper. But when you balance everything that these 5 communities have in common, those top 10 criteria, proximity, the school systems, the affordability of homes compared to Portland and the more enhanced towns, if you will. I'm not comparing these towns to Augusta as an example, or to Bangor, or to some of these other Lewiston, Auburn, just because Portland is the kind of flagship city of Maine. It is the largest city, has the most jobs, but it's also probably one of the most expensive. Other than you got Falmouth and you got Cape Elizabeth and you got Yarmouth and Cumberland, those are pretty expensive towns too. But away from those, you got these towns that are more reasonably priced. I think the average price for a home in Maine right now, median average, is in the high 3s, maybe low 4s. That's across the state. Obviously, the numbers way up in the county, up in Aroostook County up north, bring those numbers down. And then you got the beach communities like someone I just read, and you have some of these beachfront properties, like I said, one's almost 4 million, one's 5 million. They bring the prices up. So these 5 communities you can't go wrong with. I am very, very well versed in 4 of them: Wyndham, Westbrook, Saco, and Biddeford. I've only helped one couple move to Brunswick. They love it out there. I've helped a lot of people move to Wyndham, obviously Saco and Biddeford, where I'm from, and Westbrook. I have a bunch of buddies that live in Westbrook, and I have helped a few people move to Westbrook as well. All have great things to say. So thankful to be able to be in Maine or find a home in Maine in these communities. So, guys, I hope this information was helpful. If you want to know about other communities that I haven't highlighted here specifically, I will try to send you an individual update on those, not just a housing update about what I think about those communities in a bulletized outlook, bulletized format. I'm getting a lot of requests here on this channel now, and I'm getting a lot of comments. I got a comment the other day from an individual that said, "Why are you encouraging so many people to move here? It's going to ruin Maine." And it's almost like they don't want the tide to rise and have all ships come in because they think Maine's going to get ruined. And what I responded back to that person was, what I have discovered for the people that I have helped move here, and a lot more that I haven't helped move here, when you talk to them, is most people are moving here for 3 reasons. They want to get out of the hustle and bustle of where they're at now. They want to get out of the climate that we're at now, especially in the South where it's too hot. As things rise, the storms, you hear about what's going on in Florida with Hurricane Milton that just crossed over and all that. And crime, right? Crime is rampant in this country, and Maine is always ranks as one of the lowest states in terms of crime in the country. I think we're ranked 2nd this year, maybe 3rd. It's either Vermont, New Hampshire, or Maine. Ironically, all three New England states. I think one of the reasons why that is because of the climate. People are just not going to want to live in temperatures 3 or 4 months out of the year that's less than freezing, right? Maine is one of those climates that has, it's going to be below 32 degrees come end of December, January, February, March, right? So a lot of people don't want to live in those climates. But that being said, I don't see the state changing because of the people that are moving here. I don't think there's ever going to be so many people that move here that it's going to become a state that's unrecognizable to the locals. I think what will happen is you see a lot of those people adopting the cultures of Maine, which is really the quality of life, the slower pace, kind of the small knit communities. I talked to one couple. I didn't help them move here, but I met them, and they were just so astounded about how people are so friendly and where they came from. I think they said it was Ohio. nobody knew each other in their community, right? Everybody stuck to their own business and it was just go to work, go home, and everybody stuck to their own things. And in the community they live in now, which is actually in Westbrook, they're like, people are so friendly. We have block parties. Everybody knows everybody, or they meet you. They wave to you when you're driving by. People are putting out decorations right now for Halloween, and it's much more of a community vibe. So I don't really see Maine ever losing that. Of course, if there's massive influxes of people, any culture can change, but I don't see that happening. And I don't see me attracting that many people that's going to change that. What I do see is we will become a little bit more diverse. Maine is like, I don't know what the percentage is. It's a pretty white population, and there's nothing wrong with that. I mean, I'm white, right? But you're seeing more diversity. Sometimes Maine gets a knock because it doesn't have enough diversity. I think that's a pro and a con. I think you can learn from anybody regarding diversity, but I also think diversity can spawn some challenges, right? Specifically, if you get if the wrong apple comes in off the apple tree. So you got to be careful with how people approach that. I try to do it politically correct, right? I'm all about diversity. I'm all about learning from other people, but I'm also all about protecting what I have. And if you're going to come into Maine, I would hope that you would learn the culture of Maine and the lifestyle of Maine versus the culture of some other place that you're moving to. Just like people that want to move to America, right? Let's have them adopt to our culture and become law-abiding citizens that produce versus draw off our resources, including our taxpayer dollars. So, not going to digress into the political nature. We're pretty close to an election now. I guess I'm going to say it right now. There's no way I'm voting for Kamala Harris. Nothing against her personally. It's just she, I think it was best said on 60 Minutes when they interviewed her. What did she have to say about, some of the things? And then she said something on The View, which was, if you could change anything in the last 4 years since you've been vice president, is there anything you would have changed or done differently? And she said, no, I would have done everything the same. And I struggle with that because there are a lot of people hurting out there because of inflation. There's a lot of people hurting out there because of the border crisis. We are a world at war with hotspots. I'm not saying if Donald Trump wins the office that all that stuff's going to go away. There's no one person that's going to be a savior. We all have to make our own individual decisions. But this country is definitely heading in the wrong direction. So you see, actually, a lot of these blue states and a lot of you see a lot of these bigger cities, which just happen to be Democratic, have a lot of crime issues. So Maine is a unique state in that way. Unfortunately, you get up past Freeport and it's all red. It's all really Republican or conservative. You get south of Freeport and it's the beach and the communities. And actually, these communities are in they're more Democratic. Where the population lives, and then you have the overall vote. So in Maine, you got I think it's 4 electoral votes. You got 2 districts, 1 per district, and then you got 2 per the population. So generally, 3 go Democratic, 1 goes Republican. Maine and Nebraska are the only 2 states that are like that. So that being said, I don't want to make this a political rant. We are getting close to politics. Just let you know, I'm never going to run from it, never going to hide from it. I don't vote for party. I vote for person. I typically lean center right. I'm definitely a conservative. I think you'll find the majority of people that have served this country lean that way too. I'm not saying everybody does. But majority of business owners or small business owners, especially in rural America, I consider Maine kind of rural, kind of lean that way too. I'm not saying if you vote one way or the other, I don't hate you. I'm not mad at you. But best thing I can tell you is vote and don't listen to the talking heads. Do your own research. Just do your own research. Don't settle for what you're being told on TV because every politician is going to slant it their own way. And the news channels are going to slant it their own way to make you believe what you want to believe. It doesn't matter. If you're going to listen to Fox, you're going to hear their viewpoint on the conservative values and how the Democrats are so bad. If you listen to CNN, MSNBC, NBC, CBS, ABC, majority of all the others are going to tell you just the opposite. I would encourage you. I can't implore you enough. Just do your own research. And I get a lot of my research from podcasts. There are 3 podcasts primarily that I listen to. The Sean Ryan Show, former Navy SEAL, former CIA director. He just wants to know. He's inquisitive. And he interviews all kinds of people. And it's not just political. He interviews all kinds of people. There's a lot of good podcasts, a lot of good topics he has. So, Sean Ryan, I'm sure this will never hit your radar, but thank you for doing what you're doing. And I love your podcast. There's Patrick Bet David. Patrick Bet David is an Iranian immigrant. His parents moved him here when he was 12. He has a heck of a story of how he came from Iran and became a U.S. citizen, joined the Army, was in the airborne, got in the insurance industry, started his own insurance company, grinded, he's multi-millionaire today, very level-headed, great podcast that he has. He has 3 or 4 other people on the podcast, so I think it's 3. But he interviews all kinds of people too, just because he's inquiring, right? He doesn't run away from one side or the other. He wants to know, just like I do. If I'm sitting down talking to somebody who doesn't have my political beliefs, I'm not going to call them idiots or whatever, or get forced on why you doing this or I want to understand why you think that way. And then the 3rd podcast is Joe Rogan. Joe Rogan is the largest podcaster in the world, as you know. I listen to Joe only because he definitely has a vast variety of people on there from all walks of life, right? So another podcaster that is just generally kind of open-minded to listen to different inquiries and asking questions and understanding. I do think you see that Joe's mindset has changed a little bit since he was a pretty lefty, pretty liberal. And I'm not that there's anything wrong with that, but his mindset has changed as he's dug in and understand more of the facts of what's going on. I'm not going to deny I do listen to Tucker Carlson, but definitely Tucker's slanted, strong right, far right. People will say extreme right. I'm not going to disagree with him, but I just like Tucker. He's common sense. Whether you agree with him or disagree with him, most of the stuff he presents that I find is factual. Like if I look into it, I see the facts, and he has a lot of good guests. Obviously, right-leaning guests on that show as well, but Tucker Carlson is known, but the top 3 are the ones I listen to. So I don't know why I went down this road, guys. Maybe it's just to help educate you about me, right? I meet people all the time now that know way more about me than I know them. They want to meet me. They want to have coffee with me. They want me to work with them. And this is just, again, this episode and this video and this channel is really just to introduce you to me, how I operate in case you're thinking about doing a real estate transaction down the road, and to help educate you on the different things here in Maine. My channel's up to like 36 or 37 videos now, maybe 38, somewhere in that range. I'm trying to produce 1 a week, and just trying to help you stay educated on what's going on in Maine and why this is an awesome place to live and why you should consider moving here. So again, if this is helpful, then appreciate it. If you find this to be worth your while, then again, tap that bell to be notified when I drop new content. And I'll leave my contact information also at the end of this video in case you want to reach out to me. People are reaching out to me. I'm getting at least 1 a week now. Wanted to set up a Zoom call or have a meeting about, never thought about moving to Maine, been watching your videos. Now it's on my radar. What do you think? Let's set up a Zoom call and saying what your goals, desires, wishes are. Maybe we can make it happen. Maybe we can't, but at least, we'll pursue that option. And, the advent of technology and specifically Zoom, and specifically really since COVID, a lot of good things did come out of COVID in terms of the way we communicate. That's what I do. So without further ado, guys, I'm going to let y'all go. Thank you for watching the channel as always. Thank you for all the subscribers that I have. Thank you for all the likes I have. Thank you for all the comments, good, bad, and indifferent. I try to respond to every one of them, or at least give a thumbs up if there's nothing if they're just making an observation. I am finding more and more people making observations from people that they actually live in Maine, and they're making observations now, which is kind of edifying what I'm saying about Maine, and they live here, and I don't know them from Santa Claus, but I appreciate all the support, guys. Please keep it up, and if there's anything you'd like to see or maybe you think I should do differently, please let me know. All right, guys, take care. Scott Tebow, over and out. Bye-bye.